And thank you for being patient. I'm just going to pull up I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to um, pull up the plan so we can kind of get started here. Also, I do want to let the members that are present on the Teams call also be aware that we also have we have someone here also here present to watch the DRC meeting. And then I'll be taking a roll call for this meeting today. All right.
Any chance I get a little tilt in this direction on your screen?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, a little more actually.
Okay.
All right, that's not too bad. Thank you.
And
dear.
then I'm gonna have to move this over, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So let me just kind of introduce. I'm Monique Alanis Flater, Community Development Director. The city staff here today on the call. We have a representative from CSG Fire. We do have a representative from our Engineering Public Works Division, Jolene Ferris, who is our Deputy Public Works Director, Assistant City Engineer. We have Ben Sandoval, our Economic Development Manager. Is there anybody else on the call that I did not mention? Is Travis, or is anybody here from any other department that I didn't mention? Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and unmute the applicants, and then so they can also introduce themselves. We also have, did you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, hi, I'm Roy Michael, Channel 21 News.
He is here to observe the meeting and as well. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the team, the applicants team. Did you guys want to introduce yourself for the project? This is going to be for the Santa Fe Industrial Project.
Hi, good morning. This is Sergio Sanchez, and we are with Meadow Finance, the applicants for this project. Jeremy. Kelly.
Good morning, this is Kelly Black with Louis Brisbois. I'm working with the applicant on this project.
Gene Ciparone, I'm the architect for the project.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Charles Trowbridge. We're the landscape architects.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Monique. This is Blaine Wilmer, Wilmer Engineering.
Good morning, Blaine. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And I'm just going to pull up the Google Earth so we can get a view of the location. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to pull up my comments. Let's see.
Monique, can I sneak this in behind you because I really can't catch that screen, and it looks like that's where everything is. Thank you, dear.
Okay, thank you for your patience. I'm just pulling up. I think it'll be helpful to have my comments up when for illustrative purposes of the zoning and the property. So this is the location of the property here. The property is located at north.
We're only seeing your Explorer, your Windows Explorer.
Oh, okay. Let me start over. Sorry. Okay, can you see now? Can you see the aerial map now? Or can you see the
There we go.
Yes.
Google?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. All right, just zooming into the property. Okay, so the property is generally 18.3 acres, and this is located north of the northwest corner of Menlo and Santa Fe Street. Just a little background on the property. The property itself is zone M1 Limited Industrial and has a land use designation of industrial as well. The applicant is proposing to develop in a light industrial building totaling 359,893 square feet with a limited office, and then with additional site-related improvements to include passenger vehicles, truck parking, landscaping, and site lighting. I'm going to pull the plans over for you. Can you guys see the plans?
Not yet.
No? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and share my screen again. All right. You can see the plans now? Okay, very good. So what we'll go ahead and do is, the way that this meeting works is that we will provide you your comments from each department representing the city review of this, and then if you have any questions or comments on it or additional follow-up, we can certainly provide that to you. But really, the intent of this is to provide you with preliminary information on based off this submittal, to see where are we at in terms of, since our pre-application meeting, how has the plans how have they been modified, were the comments addressed that we had originally, and if there's anything else that we need to ensure that we convey to you as part of this review that you should be aware of, to make an important decision on the development of the project. So this overall site plan is the north direction. It's actually shown here. I guess I could go ahead and flip it a little bit so that we can have a better understanding of the north, south, east, and west of this.
Flip it again.
All right.
One more time.
One more time. Thank you.
There you
Got
go.
it. I failed that class. So this is the north, south, east, and west. Surrounding land uses include, it's a vacant industrial property to the north, the residential property to the south. We do have the city of San Jacinto to the east. There's a cemetery just due southeast here of the property. There's a small area here that is zoned for residential and then industrial. So we have a mix of surrounding land uses for this property, and the zoning does permit an industrial development subject to site development review approval. The general plan land use designation is industrial, as I had mentioned previously. And what we'll go ahead and do is kind of give you some preliminary comments. What I thought it would be helpful too, I know engineering and fire have some important information to provide. I did want to share my comments with you up front, so that you could kind of gauge the review that we're looking at, and kind of have an
Monique, I'm terribly sorry, but there's a gentleman online, and I keep seeing his name. I think anyone who's not speaking needs to mute, because I can barely hear you.
Javier.
Okay, let's just see if we can get everybody muted on here. Is everybody muted?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so all right. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, and now let me know if you do see, if you see my memo here.
Yep.
Okay. So what I did want to provide is just the layout of what is required by this development application. Excuse me. All right. So let me just, I'm going to update this. Any information that I have that's not correct, I apologize. I was rushing this morning to get it all finalized. So it is 359,893 square feet. The zoning does allow for it. The approvals that are required for this is site development review, a lot merger, and a parking variance. The environmental review for this development would be an initial study for the project, which will cover this California Environmental Quality Act requirements for aesthetics, agriculture, air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, geology, and soils. In this case, also a fault hazard study, greenhouse gas emissions, hazards, hydrology, land use. We would not have, it would be noise, population and housing. This is a land use designation that allows for industrial only. So the population analysis would not be required. We could look at that, but it wouldn't be required. Public services, traffic, utilities, and then economic benefits analysis. This property is outside the airport land use commission's jurisdictions, outside the influence area. What I did want to do is just kind of jump right into some of my initial comments on how I'd like the resubmittal to be provided when it comes back. We would like to see on the plans an identification of the development standards, how they are meeting the code. Examples like the building heights and the lot coverage or lot information, parking requirements, any landscaping requirements. We have provided you with an extensive memo here just to kind of make sure we cover everything in advance so that when we get resubmittals, we're getting complete packages. The parking reduction request, it would, in this case particularly, would be a variance. The findings for the variances are included in this memo. Please ensure that those findings are provided upon resubmittal, so we can better understand what the methodology or the need for the variance for parking reduction. The layout of planning's comments are also that we provide you with the site development review requirements. Please take a look at these for exterior lighting, walls, and these are also to help us all to remember what items need to be. So lighting, refuse, walls, fencing, screening. We want to make sure our application packages have that information. And oftentimes, really on our side, we want to make sure it helps us to keep track of everything that's happening. So I just kind of wanted to briefly go over this. And then on our second meeting, I won't go over everything in detail again, but just kind of wanted to give an overview of kind of the way that we're providing better information to our applicants ahead of time so that we have our performance standards are being met for noise or any type of odor, any type of, depending on the proposed use for it. So this is kind of a new memo that you may not have seen before from the city. We do have our off-street parking requirements that we have provided some information on that. Please ensure that your calculations include your ADA spaces. If you have any electric vehicle ready spaces, please have that information. With regards to the parking, your parking aisles, you have your minimum drive aisle widths. We'll also refer to fire department today for their comments on the fire access, traffic circulation, and driveway standards, surfacing. Also included is that we're gonna be looking for is a truck route plan. And just kind of looking at to see what are the constraints there. Are you utilizing other roadways? If, you know, you're coordinating with any other jurisdictions or how that's gonna work. Landscaping is really important. We wanna make sure that you have a full landscape plan that is thoughtful and is considerate of residential properties surrounding it and provides substantial buffering and landscaping, fencing and screening. Lighting is also an important feature that we want to be looking at to be sensitive to the surrounding land uses. I know I'm kind of going ahead on that, but this is our landscape requirements that we have here. We wanted to make sure that we give you like what are the minimum requirements for that. I'm going to delete this one right here. This is not in the scenic highway. This is not going to be required, but your landscape requirements are going to be for to comply with the state Hemet, with state of California and the Hemet Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance. I'm going to take this out as well. It's not in the scenic highway. The exterior colors of the building, we want to make sure that this project has a sensitive color palette, that the colors are neutral, that you know, as proposed, maybe perhaps we can look at the colors on the exterior building to be more subtle and neutral in earth tone, or another more subtle design. So I apologize. I'm just kind of running through this really, you know, quick for you guys, and then I'm going to just kind of lay out a couple of my comments here. Some of my comments that I have just stem from just looking at it since our last pre-application meeting, that I just feel it's really important. I want to make sure that you're aware of, you know, of this, you know, submittal that we have. We want to make sure that we're looking at everything and are all on the same page. So I do want to mention that on this property, I'm going to stop sharing and put on the site plan, and let's go back here and share my screen. Okay, so there is there's fault lines that potentially are within the boundaries of the property, and the applicant can respond to that if they'd like to. A fault hazard study is going to be required based on some of the comments and concerns that have been raised by commissioners and decision makers in the city, is really a sensitivity to any buildings within the fault hazard areas. I think this site is limited and constrained with regards to that, so please carefully look at that to make sure it is in compliance with our municipal code, Alquias Priolo Act. Our requirement is that you do maintain a buffer from all structures. Now the way it's written, you know, habitable versus, you know, utilizing it for warehouses. I know this is still going to be a concern that's going to be raised. So I do have concerns with any improvements that are being proposed within the fault hazard areas, and to minimize as much development as possible, and you know, in terms of excavation or any need for that. So I will be looking for the fault hazard study to be provided by the applicant. It will be peer reviewed by a geologist to ensure that the site is safe for development, and it will be part of the development. So I just want you to look at that a little bit more. I have a little bit concerns with that we want to make sure that we get that information ahead of time before we clear this to proceed forward through the environmental process. And then also please note that study may affect your design and then your building footprint. So we just want you to be aware of that. Also, we will need to understand a little bit more, you know, clearly about the variance and what the requirements to reduce the parking. I know that we've looked at that for another project, and it based on research that was already provided. There are some other industry standards where the requirements are less in other jurisdictions. So we certainly just want to better understand what the use is, who the tenant is, and what is the need for parking for the development. Please take a look carefully at the truck loading bays and the locations, and just ensuring that there's a sensitivity to the surrounding, residents. I think the best way to be able to illustrate this for the commissioners and the public is the 3D renderings are very helpful in describing or illustrating how you're providing buffering between surrounding land uses. So in light of recent legislation, we just want to make sure that we're also within the spirit of that, and also we have the zoning code that has specific requirements, which is what we're following. However, we just want to make sure that this is going to be a development that is sensitive, to the surrounding, all while being in compliant with the zoning code. It looks like the floor area ratio is right at the requirement for the land use of 45%. So that's fine. I think there may be some need to modify it though, based off of your circulation. I do have some concerns that there's really no buffer, surrounding the truck route, the truck circulation as it traverses throughout the property. I do want to look at that a little bit more closely, and I understand that you've looked at this to try to meet it, but I feel slightly that maybe the program for the square footage of the building, we may need to look at that a little bit more, and may need to have discussion on that a little bit more on if the site constraints that you have on the property. So that in a nutshell is my comments. In the memo also provides a checklist of what all of the remaining plans that need to be provided if they have not been, and then also what our procedures are in terms of like the minimum scaling. And I know that you've provided engineering scale for engineering drawings, but please make sure that as we move forward with this project that you have everything at the same time, and that we're trying to make sure that our process is flowing more in sync. Also, please, if you have not already, provide a fire department access plan to ensure that, and maybe perhaps fire will weigh in on that. But thank you. I apologize for being long-winded on this. I just wanted to give an overview because we have two projects that are in the pipeline here, and I want to make sure we kind of have an understanding of what planning's looking at this stage for the development. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to our Jolene from Public Works in Engineering. Thank you.
Hi guys, good morning.
Morning, Julie.
Good morning.
So I from our last preliminary review, I kind of went over some of the things, related to storm drain and flood control and those kind of things. I didn't really update the comments this time because I didn't get a submittal for the WQMP, I didn't get a submittal for the hydrology, so obviously there's still some submittals outstanding for engineering. So all the comments previously related to drainage, stuff like that, still apply. Santa Fe, I didn't update the comments yet, like I said, because I didn't get a full submittal, but we would probably require full street pavement for that. And I think there's, there would need to be some discussion on, community benefit items. The truck route that Monique mentioned obviously would be required. And, some studies related to that and getting access to the site. So, I'm assuming you guys have been watching some of the more recent meetings and some of the things that have been requested. So I think, since we are kind of entering this new area of, community benefit requirements and stuff like that, it would be something we kind of need to discuss going forward. So I just kind of want to throw that out there, but there may be additional street improvement requirements beyond just your project frontage. And I want to know if you guys had any specific questions for engineering. Take that as no questions. You guys don't have questions?
If you do have a question, can you raise your hand so just in case so I can unmute you? Okay. Okay. With that, if there are no other comments from engineering, I will go ahead and I will ask our representative from Fire, from CSG Fire. I know we also have our building official, Fire Marshal Javier's on the line as well now. He has joined us.
Good morning, everyone. This is Adria Smith, CSG Consultants, representing the fire department, and Javier stopped me at any moment or add to as I kind of go along. So my first thing is we're looking at your circulation plan, your access. You're a little tight over there on the southwest corner if there are trucks in those docks. And I realize, this is just a representation. So we will want to see a full access and water plan if this gets approved, to make sure that we do have sufficient fire access in there. My other comment, and I know you guys are used to this, I do need to see fire flow from the water purveyor at 4,000 gallons a minute at 20 psi for 2 hours. That's pretty standard for your projects. The other comments, let me pull up my list here. That's not the right one. Okay, so I put some preliminary conditions in as well, and you will receive these from Monique if you have not. I will also need to see preliminary locations of proposed any existing fire hydrants that may be out on those streets. And then your general conditions, of course, we'll get more specific as we enter the building permit phases. Sprinklers, alarms, all of your sub-trades that will come in, addressing. You need to check in with the fire department regarding your need for emergency responder radio coverage due to the size of the building. Fire flow stated again. And then some construction requirements for, phasing in roads and stuff. We're talking about a single building, so I'm assuming you're going to do everything at the same time. Knox boxes, some information on gates. Any gates that you're going to put in shall have Knox switches as well as automatic sensors for access by the fire department. Hydrant information. And the fire safety during construction. There is a condition in there for request for traffic calming, which, with your trucks in there, that's probably not something we'll have to be concerned about. So any questions for me at this point, or Javier, anything you want to add? Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So with that, we do have Javier on the line, and also just for his information as well, based on some comments that have been made at the planning commission level, we do want to see more detailed floor plans for the development, so that that there is an understanding of the potential layout for that. So just please keep that in mind as you prepare your final or your upcoming resubmittal, including like your office areas, more detail on the floor plan. We've had some other applications that have come in, and that's been a comment that's been identified, and it would be good to have that good complete set of information. And it also helps our building official, fire marshal, to prepare an occupancy egress analysis to ensure that you have the information on the building code requirements ahead of time. Javier, did you want to add anything to that?
Hi, Monique. Yeah, hi, everyone. Sure. Yeah, what I want to just emphasize is that it's going to be very important for us in order to determine the proper egress for this building. So I would like to have I would like to request a complete analysis of the type of square footage with the egress in relationship to some of the setbacks that are associated with these development. And I just want to touch back on what Andrew was saying is that there seems to be a little tight. The circulation path for these developments seems to be a little bit tight. Probably we need to. I don't know if it's because the clarity of the what I'm looking at, but if we can just make sure that we have the proper circulation for our fire apparatus, that's going to be key and highly important for us to determine whether or not we have that clearance. Other than that, I think we're good to go.
Thank you, Javier.
You're welcome.
Okay, also on the line is our Economic Development Manager, Ben Sandoval. Ben, did you have any comments you'd like to add?
Yes, good morning, Monique. Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, Sergio and team. This is more in a sense on the economic development analysis. As we're bringing in bigger business into our city, we're revamping the city of Hemet, we're bringing in new sectors, which we're very happy for you to take the initiative to come to our city and invest. We also at the same token want to make sure that we're giving the right type of information and job quality for our constituents for a better quality of life that's based on the strategic plan on the city's perspective that council approved. So we would like to see on the economic development analysis on top of how many jobs will we be creating, what is the hourly wage for some of these that you may or may not have a team already in line, but we're looking to see how many positions it is going to be creating. Are these full-time, part-time positions, again, hourly wages for these, and more importantly, are these going to be economically self-sufficient jobs that we can promote within our city, as we want to stop leakages, people leaving to other cities for these types of work, so we can keep them in-house even better. And I think Jaylene briefly scanned over this, the community benefits. The city really wants to have community benefits. What does that look like on top of the tunk fees? Are these extra murals? Are these extra incentives for our city? So these are some of the things that the